The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Hey everybody, Chris Egan, King 5 Sports. Time for the big game of the week, and we've got a thriller tonight. Mount Tahoma, undefeated, 5-0, taking on undefeated Bellarmine Prep. Going to be a great game. Coach Terry joins us now from Mount Tahoma. And Coach, I'll begin with, you took over this program 4 years ago, and it has slowly been building. Maybe not slowly, because 2 years ago you guys made it to the state playoffs, lost to Yelm. Last year in the state playoffs, lose to an ODA team that wins it. It has been a great progression here. Just what did it take to kind of build this thing up, and so far so good this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's took a lot of hard work, dedication, just, giving these guys a foundation, right? Giving these guys something to believe in, and mainly believing in themselves, right? These guys had to bet on themselves, had to buy into what we were doing as a program, and just really owning that. Guys just really staying at home, staying in South Tacoma, coming to Mount Tahoma where they live their whole lives, and now there's a program here that they feel like they can want to be a part of, and it's special.
Well, I just like the continued improvement. Each week, they're getting better as people, as a team, and so Chris, that's our main thing, just progression throughout. Coach Terry's got a really good Mount Tahoma football team. I mean, they're solid from top to bottom. It's going to be a challenge for us, but we're here ready to take the challenge. But that's a real good football team. But they're all going to be tough from here on out. As a matter of fact, every week is tough. So yeah, it's good timing.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mount Tahoma Stadium. Chris Egan coming to you live from Mount Tahoma Stadium in Tacoma, Washington. Joining me in the booth tonight, John Manley from the News Tribune, one of the best prep writers in the country here. And how about on the opening kickoff? Here comes Mount Tahoma with a big return. And that was a nice one right there. Mount Tahoma in some business. I believe that was number 7, Q Hodge, with the return. Big game of the week coming to you live from Mount Tahoma Stadium. And if somehow somebody back at the King 5 studios could get the news out of my ears, that would make life very good for me tonight. I can only do 8 things at once, John Manley. Having to listen to a newscast and call a ball game is not one of them. But it's good to have you in the booth with me, John.
It's good to be here, Chris. A beautiful night in Tacoma.
And as we talk about tonight's matchup, you've got Bellarmine Prep 5-0 taking on Mount Tahoma 5-0. It's 2 5-0 teams, correct, John? It says 4-1. Did they lose one along the way?
I think it was the opener, Chris, if I recall. It was Rogers.
To Rogers, okay.
Yeah, they've been rolling ever since, so I think they'll be ready for this one.
So they took out Auburn, Kelso, Silas, Central, Kitsap, and here comes 5-0 Mount Tahoma. They kicked off the season with victories over Yelm, Camas, Mount Si, Central Kitsap, and got a big one last week against Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bellarmine's record looks nice, but this is a whole different beast that they're playing tonight. Mount Tahoma is however you want to slice it, is a top 5, top 3, top 2 team maybe in 3A. So this is going to be a whole different challenge for Bellarmine tonight.
And you can see the rain starting to come down here from Mount Tahoma Stadium. Opening drive. Micah Cordero in the shotgun. He's going to hand it off to Nezzy White, and Nezzy White goes down. So that's going to bring up a second down and about 4 yards, so 2nd and 14. Mount Tahoma, John, as you look at the 3A ranks, this is a team 2 years ago, got into the state playoffs, went down to Yelm, lost a tough one to a very good Yelm team. Last year had a nice win against Decatur in the state playoffs. Then they lose to O'Day, who ends up winning the state championship. This Mount Tahoma team, John, a lot of people says has a shot to win the state title this year.
Yeah, I think they've been building toward this, Chris.
Nice little handoff right there, and that is Nezzy White, and Nez White is in there for the touchdown. Following his big blockers And it looks like there could be a flag on the field. That could be a holding, John. That could be coming back.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Chris, I think they've been building towards this. I think this is their most complete team that Keith Terry's done just such a tremendous job here in his short time at Mount Tahoma, and I think just they've had some good skill position players, and maybe one unit here or there is good, but this year they just got it all: the offensive line, the defensive line, the secondary, the DBs, the star receiver, the quarterback's experience. I think this is the year they can really put it all together.
And what's pretty special about this team, tonight is senior night here at Mount Tahoma Stadium, and I always say a sign of a good program is how many seniors you have. He has 31 seniors, Coach Terry. That says a lot that these guys want to stay with them. Pitch out there to number 3. That's Felix Diaz who gets the pitch. Not much going there. The Bellarmine Prep defense in on that one. That was Ezra Munge with the tackle for the Lions. And Brian Jensen has done a good job with these Lions, and the defense looking strong after that opening kickoff where they took it down to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I think they look like they're ready to play, and they're stopping the run, and we'll see if, in the rain, you want to force the team to beat you through the air, right? So let's see if Mount Tahoma is able to do that here.
3rd and 15 for Mount Tahoma. Micah Cordero in the shotgun. Waves motion to Anthony Quintanilla Jr. Another flag on the field.
Looks like another flag, false start on the offense. Ball game penalty. Replay. 30.
So we'll see what the officials have to say here. Mount Tahoma putting themselves in some troubles early with some penalties. Des White had a nice carry, came back. So that's going to set up a 3rd down and very long. Micah Cordero, shotgun formation. It's a very dangerous Mount Tahoma team. So many weapons. Cordero dropping back. Cordero going up into the air, looking. And nice defensive play there. He was looking for Elijah Durr. And John Manley, who I'm going to have him pump up himself. When it comes to prep sports, they don't get much better than John Manley. Tell me a little bit about Elijah Durr and this young man. He's a senior now. One of the best athletes in the state, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think you just have the total package. He can go up and high point a ball. He's got the blazing speed. He's strong. I mean, he's the total package of what you're looking for. I know the University of Washington likes him as a DB, but at the high school level, Keith Terry likes him quite a bit on both sides of the football. So, and you have that luxury in high school. So yeah, he's a total package, legit D1 prospect, Chris.
All right, 4th and 20. Mount Tahoma, the T-Birds are going to go for it. Cordero scrambling, throwing to the air. Has a man. He was there open in the end zone. He was looking for Kane Roy. But Bellarmine Prep, give them some kudos. A nice defensive stop there. It looked like everything was on Mount Tahoma's side, the momentum. And then got lucky with a couple penalty calls, but the defense stood up when they needed to.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you dial up on the opening drive. Take advantage of those penalties, and in obvious run situations, they were able to stuff them there. So nice opening series from the Lions defense.
All right, you're watching the King 5 Big Game of the Week, coming to you on King 5 Plus, brought to you by Phillips Law Firm. Chris Egan alongside John Manley, coming to you from Mount Tahoma Stadium. 4-1, Bellarmine Prep taking on 5-0 Mount Tahoma, two of the top teams in the state. And here comes Burke Johnston, the captain, the senior, Josiah Mokel in the backfield for Bellarmine Prep. Burke Johnston throws, finds Casey Gabauer, his tight end. And John, for everybody out there, how can they follow you around? I mean, I know you're on Twitter, X. I know you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, you are definitely doing an incredible job with the Tacoma News Tribune.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage everyone, first of all, just thenewstribune.com, the News Tribune app. If you're a fan of high school sports, especially here in the South Sound area, we are all over it. Myself, my coworker Tyler Wicki, we have an awesome photo staff and just everyone who kind of makes the whole thing go. So that's where I would start.
All right, Burke Johnson going to go to the air. Finds number 22 on that one, Josiah Mokel. Mokel picks up a few yards there. Bellarmine Prep, we mentioned, open up against Rogers, and then they've been on a win streak since then. Coach Brian Jensen, 22 years he's been over at Bellarmine Prep coaching. Been the head coach for about 12 years. They have wins over Auburn, Kelso, Silas, Central Kitsap, but if they could pull off a win tonight, that would definitely be their biggest of the season. And it's going to be first down and 10 for the Lions on a rainy, chilly night here in Tacoma, Washington. Bellarmine Prep on the move, handoff. Josiah Mokel, not much going there. Nice tackle there by Tevin Jones on the tackle for Mount Tahoma.
Yeah, and Chris, this Mount Tahoma defensive line, I think, is why this team, I think, is probably the best team to come out of Tacoma since Lincoln in 2019, and that team reached the state tournament semifinals. So, when you have some nice skill position players, that's all well and good. But when you have the line that's legit and can complement that, that's when you can make some noise in the postseason. And
they definitely will make some noise this season. Defensive coordinator Dion Alexander doing a good job for the T-Birds. Fake handoff. Burke Johnson throws. Completion to number 17, Hunter Goodsell. It's going to be just shy, it looks like, of the first down. So that's going to bring up a third down and about 2 yards there. So far, Burke Johnson, the captain, looking pretty strong. Seth Couvert, the other captain on this Bellarmine Prep team, you'll see him play offense and defense for the Lions.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on Burke Johnson, Chris. I mean, he's a legit 6'5", big-arm quarterback. I believe he was the offensive player of the year in the league last year, and he's a very good quarterback. So if they can keep that kind of quick passing game going, he can make some things happen in this one.
Third down and 2. Bellarmine Prep on their first drive of the night. And it's just a direct handoff snap to Casey Gebauer, and the big old tight end, I think he's got plenty for the first down there, John.
Looks like it. And a nice play call there from Brian Jensen.
Yeah, and Brian Jensen, the Bellarmine Prep Lions, you look through the years, some of the great names coming out of there. Cepho Lufau, I'm trying to think of the wide receiver that they had that went on. Michael Rector. They've had some great players through the years. Of course, some of the alumni to come out of Bellarmine Prep include John Lester, Kyle Stanley. Tennis fans may know the name Patrick Galbraith. You got Malachi Flynn now in the NBA, Abdul Gaddy. So they've had plenty of great ones. But, John, I think it's tough. I think it's tough to battle the alumni from Mount Tahoma when you've got Ahmad Rashad, Ron Say, and Art Teal.
Art Teal, a fantastic writer.
The wicked wit of the West. Third down and 7 for the Bellarmine Prep Lions. Burke Johnson throwing, and that is a nice throw and a nice catch there. And the catch is made. Number 10 for Bellarmine Prep on the reception.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good athletes to come out of Mount Tahoma over the years. And, people forget, and maybe a lot of people are just too young, but this was a legitimate football powerhouse back in the day, Chris. I think 70, 71, a couple state titles, something like that. And, they're trying to kind of get back to form here.
1970, their quarterback was Jim Ellers. They played Bellarmine Prep in one of the last Turkey Bowl games at the Lincoln Bowl, and it was Mount Tahoma who won that game. A couple of years later, 1972, Bellarmine Prep took out Mount Tahoma. Then you'd go to 1979, and that's the year Mount Tahoma would go undefeated, win a state title. They'd win another one in 1980. But as you said, John, this is a program that has a history of winning, but then they would go on a drought for, I think it was nearly 39 years of not getting in the state playoffs, and Keith Terry ended that 3 years ago when he brought that team down to Yelm. Last year they faced off against O'Day, and here they are undefeated in 2025. First down and 10. Lions moving the chains here in the opening quarter. No score from Mount Tahoma Stadium. John Manley, Chris Egan, King 5 big game of the week. Burke Johnson rolls, and in and out of the hands. And that was a nice little play call. Just wide receiver just couldn't haul it in.
I really like what they're dialing up here. It's a lot of the short passing. It's a lot of the screen game. Kind of using that Mount Tahoma defensive line pressure to their advantage. And I think it's really smart play calling that you're seeing right now from Bellarmine.
Luke Heisel, the wide receiver, dropped that ball there. Just a sophomore, and Coach Jensen telling me they'll play a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. They've got a very young team. Burke Johnson's going to keep it, and he's going to pick up a few more yards. And I like the play flag down, though, so that could be coming back. But I like the play calling we're seeing early on from Brian Jensen and the Bellarmine Prep coaching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of the ball's coming out quick, and it's that screen game, and kind of use, like I said, use that Mount Tahoma aggression kind of against them. And so I like what they're dialing up so far.
We talk about Mount Tahoma a little bit earlier about this could be a team that could make a run for a state title, and Bellarmine Prep staying with them here in the first quarter of play. But, John, when you look at the 4A, you think about the defending state champs from Sumner. Keith Ross has done an amazing job with that team. But then we see what happened last Saturday, and they were on the big game of the week a couple weeks ago. The Puyallup Vikings took out Emerald Ridge, and then last Saturday they took it to the defending state champs. You could have a couple state champions on the South Sound, couldn't you?
There's some good teams down here this year, and I moved Puyallup up to number 1 this week in my AP poll. I just have been so impressed. They're not just beating good teams; they're really blowing them out right now.
All right, Burke Johnson going deep, and that is intercepted. Elijah Durr. We talked about him on offense. He can do it on defense as well. Elijah Durr. Look at this. He could take it all the way back.
Yeah, and that's going to come back, probably a block in the back, but an awesome interception.
Elijah Durr, what an interception right there. And flag on the play, John?
Yeah, it looked like a block in the back, but the interception is going to stand.
And you can hear the Boo Birds from the Mount Tahoma side. There's a big crowd over here. 31 seniors, so a lot of family members here.
Yeah, and it sounds like a good crowd out. I think you ran into a tailgate outside, Chris. Did you get a hot dog out there?
Not hot dog, John. I'm telling you what, the Mount Tahoma families know how to do it. We had rack of ribs on the grill. We had chicken. I mean, this was one of the best tailgate parties I've ever seen. But here we go. That's coming back, but it will still be Mount Tahoma ball in the end. Elijah Durr with the interception, showing off his playmaking ability, though. And here they come. Second time, Micah Cordero with the handoff. Felix Diaz picking up a couple yards.
Run by number 3, Felix Diaz, gain of 5 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 5.
All right, Mount Tahoma Stadium, no score. First quarter, 2nd down and 5. Mount Tahoma started with the ball, had a nice kick return, but then penalties cost them. Bellarmine Prep moved the ball down the field, but when they came down to it, interception from Elijah Durr. And Mount Tahoma trying to get the run game going, but I got to give a lot of credit. This Bellarmine Prep, the linebackers are coming through, and there is not much running room there right now for Mount Tahoma.
Yeah, I think they are all in on trying to stop the run. I think anytime you have conditions that are a little rainy, a little wet, you want to try to stop the run first and make them one-dimensional, and they've done a nice job of doing that so far.
Time is moving pretty quickly here at Mount Tahoma Stadium. Only 3:10 to go here in the first quarter of play. No score. Couple of the 3A heavyweights squaring off tonight. Micah Cordero in the shotgun. Nez wide to the right of him, and Cordero is going to go to the air. He's got plenty of time. He lets it fly. Oh, and he had his man wide open. Had some running room there. That was Logan Walker, but just overthrew him just a little bit there, John.
Close one. They got their shot. They had seen Bellarmine kind of sneaking up and try to stop the run, and they took their shot and liked what they saw. Just overthrown, but that's probably going for 6 if he hits him in stride there.
4th and 4, so that will bring out the punting unit. They couldn't get anything going with the run game. Felix Diaz trying to get something going, only could pick up a couple yards. They went to the air overthrow to Logan Walker. So Mount Tahoma will be punting, and Bellarmine Prep just inches away from blocking that. Good little punt. T-Birds are going to down that around the 40-yard line. So far, give credit to Coach Jensen and the Bellarmine Prep defense. They have faced off against the T-Birds offense twice, and they have stopped them twice.
Yeah, it's been a nice start for that defense, and this kind of reminds me a little bit of last week. Mount Tahoma played Lincoln. Lincoln was actually up 7-0 early in that game. I believe Mount Tahoma had a 14-7 lead at half and just kind of a slow start, and then they turned it on in the second half. So it seems if there's a time to get to Mount Tahoma, it's in the first half. So let's see if Bellarmine can get some points out of this drive.
And Burke Johnson, quarterback, senior captain for Bellarmine Prep, looked very solid in that first drive. Josiah Mokel to the left of him. There's the throw. That's Luke Shaw with the catch. And you may be hearing the last name Shaw a little bit tonight because you've got Luke Shaw and you've got Eli Shaw. The brothers play for Bellarmine Prep, and you'll see that a lot with the Lions. It's a lot of family members at that school. Brothers, sisters of talented cross-country teams through the years. You go into that gym, John, you'll see the golf championships, the tennis titles through the years.
A lot of Bordeaux's on the.
A lot of Bordeaux's,
yeah.
yes. Kyle Stanley, Patrick Galbraith, one of the greats. Sonia Olahar back in the day, one of the best girls tennis players. A nice little throw, nice little catch right there. That's Seth Couvert with the reception for Bellarmine Prep, and Bellarmine Prep coaches over there clapping their hands, and they so far they are moving the ball very effectively right now. You take away the interception, and it could be a different story, but still no score here from Tacoma. Chris Egan alongside John Manley, Tacoma News-Tribune. John, one of the busiest men around, working 20. Do you ever get a day off, John?
Occasionally. Sundays I try to kind of lay low and spend time with the family, so that usually ends up being the day off.
All right, Burke Johnson rolling right, throwing, and catching is Hunter Goodsell. Bellarmine Prep with their white tops, navy blue bottoms with a white stripe down the line with the old lion on the helmet. Mount Tahoma going with their King 5 yellow pants, black top, and white helmet. And first down. We're going to have to get you some of those yellow pants.
You know, Chris, I know we're on a King 5 broadcast, but it's just not my favorite shade of yellow. I'm going to let you I'm going to let you stick with that one.
Big game of the week coming to you live on King 5 Plus, brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. And there's so many great storylines here tonight. Mount Tahoma players playing for one of their teammates they lost last year. They're rallying around him, and that is Burke Johnson throwing deep, and looks like Durr went down, but wide receiver kind of lost the ball in the lights there.
It's too bad because you're not going to get Elijah Durr to fall down very often.
No.
So that's a golden opportunity, but it looks like the Bellarmine receiver just got kind of spun around and lost the ball, like you said.
Has Durr committed anywhere for next year?
Yeah, he's committed to Washington.
He's going to okay. As defense or offense?
Defense.
He's okay. Well, we saw that early on with his interception. So Huskies trying to put a fence around the state and bring all the top locals there, and they've done a pretty good job getting the youngster from Kennedy Catholic. And this will be 2nd down and 10. Handoff, Mokel, nothing going there.
Number 22.
And these are some big boys on Mount Tahoma's defensive line. And they may be hitting the tailgate party as well, John, because these are some big boys. I think a couple of those guys had a couple half racks of ribs before the game.
I had heard somebody say the entire defensive line is 280 or over, Chris. So it's there's some big boys on that defensive line.
Well, that's going to wrap up the first quarter. No score here from Mount Tahoma Stadium. We'll take a break and come back with the second quarter.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Okay. All right, welcome back. Mount Tahoma Stadium. Chris Egan, John Manley coming to you live. No score here in a dandy and another interception. Ball was tipped and ball was picked off. So the Mount Tahoma defense strikes again. Amir Rustahart with the interception, and that's a big one for the T-Birds. And Burke Johnson getting a little unlucky there.
Yeah,
ball tipped up in the air.
I think the first one is on him, but that one, that's not his fault. That's a good throw, actually, and that one just gets tipped into the air. So tough luck for Burke there, and we'll see if the Bellarmine defense can hang on again on this drive.
All right, so here comes Mount Tahoma, their third drive of the night. Still nothing to show for. And there we go. Nez White breaks it free. 15-10-5, touchdown. Nezzy White with your run of the night. Took it right up the middle. We talked about Mount Tahoma just struggling to get the run game going. No more. Nezzy White taking that one the distance. Great little run right there. The big boys up front, Edwin Dallas Chronicles, just paving the way and opening up the lanes, and Nezzy White took it the distance.
Yeah, and I think you got to play pretty perfect football to beat a team this good in Tacoma this year. And 2 turnovers, it's gonna come back to bite you eventually. And you saw it right there. Nothing but green grass for Nezzy White.
And the kick is up, and the kick is good. So Mount Tahoma starting the second quarter off with a bang. They lead it 7-0, and they're going wild in T-Bird country tonight, down in the 2-5-3. Nezzy White got the handoff from Micah Cordero and took it the distance. Great little run right there, and the T-Birds are flashing the lights down here in the 2-5-3. We talked about that. Bellarmine Prep, pretty tough stop of the run. And make sure you follow John Manley on X, by the way. What's your handle again on Twitter, John?
Manley, MANLEY _TNT.
Manley _TNT. He'll give you all the latest. What was looked like about a 60-yard run on that one. I'll have to look back on the.
I had a 67.
67, yeah.
For. And yeah, I mean, if totally untouched. Once you saw him get through that hole right down the middle, I don't think anyone was going to catch him, Chris.
No, it was, and that was coming off a second interception for the T-Birds defense. Burke Johnson, hard to fault him on that one. And let's see and Bellarmine trying to answer back with a big run of their own. Luke Shaw with the return on that one, pretty good. Luke Shaw had the speed and moving there. Eli Shaw, his brother, is actually the punter. So Mount Tahoma strikes first with a big run from Nezzy White. 7-0. Mount Tahoma looking for their 6th win of the year. I asked Coach when was the last time the T-Birds were 6-0, and Coach Terry says I have no idea, Chris. So we think it was probably 1979 or 1980, one of those 2 years.
Well, Chris, when I started at the TNT in the 2010s, they couldn't win a game. So it's really a pretty remarkable turnaround that Keith Terry has orchestrated here. And they've always had good athletes, but a lot of them would end up at Lincoln or wherever.
Sure.
And now Keith, he's just been able to get kids to stay and get kids to believe in kind of what they're building. And I think that's really a testament to him and his coaching staff.
Well, you said the one word there that Coach mentioned to me quite a bit, and the word was believe. And he said when he came here, he had to get the team to believe, but in order to get the team to believe, he had to go through every single individual on this team and make sure that they believed in themselves. And it was just trying to build up their self-worth, and it's something he's done an incredible job here. A tribute to him, 31 seniors, says a lot about a program. Nice pass there. Burke Johnson to Luke Shaw. And Shaw's going to – and this Bellarmine Prep offense has been very solid. It's just 2 interceptions have haunted them so far.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to do this quick passing game, the short stuff, you're going to move the chains, but you can't turn the ball over when you get into the red zone. It's got to be when you're not taking the deep shots and getting those explosive plays, it's really the margin for error becomes really small.
All right, 3rd down and 2, a big 3rd down now for Bellarmine Prep. Burke Johnson lining up under center under Cody Couvert, little quarterback keeper, and that should be enough for the 1st down. Tevin Jones in there trying to make a tackle. Shaw Jones. This defense so tough for Mount Tahoma. Getting that win last week against Lincoln, it's kind of the battle for the city of Tacoma there when it's Mount Tahoma and Lincoln. That was a big victory there for Coach Terry, wasn't it?
Andrew Luck in attendance, watching Sione Cajo, the Lincoln quarterback, but it was kind of Mount Tahoma who stole the show that day.
All right, Burke Johnson throwing. Hunter Goodsell with the catch. Breaks. They've got a couple athletes that are now sponsored. They have their own deals with a local burger restaurant in town. Give us, because I believe you this story.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, thanks for the recognition there, Chris.
Well,
but it's actually Tahoma's Elijah Durr and Lincoln's Sione Cajo NIL deals with a local burger joint in Tacoma.
What do you think about all this?
I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings, I guess. I mean,
oh, and they came and brought the heat, and that is tough to escape that. Looked like Shaw Jones was in on that. Number 13 was bringing the heat as well. Trying to get a number on 13. That's the only one problem with sometimes doing these high school games. They'll switch numbers.
Sean Jones is who I saw it looked like on the blitz, and just really explosive there. And Burke Johnston didn't really have any shot there.
Shot out of a cannon.
But the NIL deals, I don't know, Chris. It's I think a lot of these things I have mixed emotions about. And you talk about transfers and NIL and all that stuff that's kind of trickling down to high school now to a lesser degree, obviously. But it's a different world that we're living in for sure.
All right, Burke Johnson trying to get his team some yardage. Not much going there as he finds Josiah Mokel. Picks up a couple yards. They needed a lot more than that. 30-20, so that will bring up the punting unit for Bellarmine Prep.
But I'll tell you what, they're both, from my interactions with them, both great kids, and they represent their schools well, and this burger restaurant has a really nice story. Secret Burger Kitchen is the name.
And I actually went to Secret Burger Kitchen. I loved it. I thought
it's a fantastic burger.
Do a great smash burger, and they're supporting high school kids. And I'll say this, and I pumped up Todd Millis, and I'm pumping up you, and I'm pumping up the Secret Burger Kitchen. These kids need this positive attention because there's not enough of it out there. I think you do a phenomenal job, and I would say this: there's people that complain, not as much in the paper, or stuff like that, or there's not as much on TV. Well, the kids actually get a lot of their stuff online, so let's be truthful, and you do a phenomenal job with that. Todd Millis is doing a great job around the state of Washington. I think the folks up in Everett do a great job up there, down south in the Vancouver job. So there are a lot of people covering high school sports, but these kids, we need to keep pumping them up. They're not in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting the positive attention you can bring, and there's a lot of negative in the world, Chris, so anything positive I think is a good thing.
All right, that is the voice of John Manley, and here comes the legs of Nessie White. That's his third big run tonight. One of them came back in the first quarter after a penalty, but Nessie White went 67 yards.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Be watching this broadcast delayed, but just in case you are watching this live, Mariners Tigers 2-2 8th inning. Winner moves on to the American League Championship Series. I just flew in from Detroit, watched games 3 and 4 in Detroit, so I may have a little jet lag, but we're still going strong here on the big game of the week. Handoff, Nezzy White. Not much going there. Great little tackle from Casey Gabauer there for Bellarmine Prep.
How was Detroit, Chris? Anything fun over there?
You know, it's a lot of work, but I got to say, I was impressed with Detroit. You know, Detroit and Cleveland sometimes seem to get a bad rap. I thought downtown Detroit was fabulous. I thought the people were great. The food was good. I actually think Comerica Park's a great ballpark. It's very spacey. There's a lot of room. Kind of a fun family ballpark. It's interesting. It's different on the East Coast and the West Coast. Their fans are going to let you know when you're losing, they'll boo. And it's not always a good idea when you're playing Tigers, Phillies, Yankees to maybe wear the opposing team's jersey because they'll let you know that as well when you're in the stands.
Sure they will. It's a different ballgame.
I had a couple Mariner fans who were like, God, the Detroit fans are kind of mean. I'm like, well, you're in their park.
Yeah, it's a little bit of it's more passive-aggressive out here than in your face. So.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mount Tahoma up 7-0. 6:20 to play here. First quarter. Going back to running the ball, and if it works, why not?
Yeah, Chris, and I think Mount Tahoma is just fine playing a game like this, winning games like this. You know, tight, kind of just wear teams down over the course of the game. They have no problem with a ball control game that maybe is not going to look incredible on the scoreboard, but they're going to come out with the win. And I think Keith Terry is just fine with how things are going right now.
Yeah, Keyshawn Hines gets the carry there. Watching Dallas Tua. I got to get his weight because that is a big boy. And he was just laying on one of the Bellarmine Prep Lions, and I'm just thinking, man, if that happens to me, my ribs will start cracking, John. Big old 71, Dallas Tua up there on the right side, helping pave the way. Cordero going to the air and throwing. That's Logan Walker with the reception, and Walker with a nice pick up there, and that's going to be a first down for the T-Birds. .503 to play. Mount Tahoma Stadium. A lot going on tonight. You got high school football. This is by far your biggest game of the night. That's why John Manley's here as well, along with the King 5 crew. You got the Huskies in action tonight. You got the Mariners in action tonight. A lot happening. The King 5 committed to the Prepsters, and how about Nezzy White? And Coach Terry's committed to the run, and he's going to keep just handing it off to Nezzy White, Felix Diaz, and Keyshawn Hines. And why not? It is working right now. They're taking away the clock, and they're getting closer to the end zone.
Yeah, and I think like I had said earlier, if it's wet out there and you got that great offensive line and several capable running backs, why not? Just pound the rock, control the clock, and that's a style of game that Keith Terry is very comfortable with.
All right, first down and 10. Mount Tahoma back in the red zone. Cordero in the shotgun. Going to fake the handoff to Nezzy White. Pass complete. Logan Walker. Walker, a nice reception. Picks up about 7 to 8 yards on that play. And that probably will be coming back. Another flag on the field. We'll wait to see what the official has to say tonight. Bellarmine Prep side a little empty tonight, John, which we're looking at. It's a cold, rainy night, as we mentioned. The Mariners are playing. Huskies are playing.
Well, it's a tough sell. It's the wind whips around here pretty good in this stadium. I don't know, being on your lazy boy with a hot coffee or a cold one probably in your heated house might be hard to turn down right now.
Our photographer, Big Game Louie, though, giving you a shot there of the Mount Tahoma side. And pretty packed tonight. 31 seniors, a great turnout for senior night. Some awesome families out there. Had a chance to meet several of them before the game. And they're very proud of this T-Birds team, and they should be. Undefeated so far this season. trying to get back into the state championship for the first time since 1980. Cordero, handoff. And that is should be a first down there. Keyshawn Hines with the carry. And they've got 3 running backs they can keep throwing at you. And that will be first down and goal now on the 4-yard line. Mount Tahoma, black tops, yellow pants, white helmets. And hang on. Another flag.
Looked like a false start there on the left tackle.
That is correct. False start on the T-Birds. Keyshawn Hines just looked a little frustrated. So I think he was going to get the carry there, but he's going to stay in the game, so he's excited now. When you have 3 running backs, when you're in the game, you want the ball as much as you can get it.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you're not the number 1 back, right? So it looks like he'll stay in, though, like you said.
All right. 2:59 to play. Been a good little ball game so far here. Been very impressed with it, both teams. Brian Jensen's done a good job calling plays. Defense has been solid, both sides of the ball. Handoff, and he is in the end zone. That is Keyshawn Hines with the touchdown. And Keyshawn Hines coupled nice carries on that run and follows his big boys into the end zone for the touchdown. 13-0 as we await the extra point. So Mount Tahoma, Keith Terry says we're going to just keep running the ball. It's working. Don't need to do much. Kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 2:41 to play here in the second quarter, Mount Tahoma, undefeated Mount Tahoma, now leads Bellarmine Prep 14-0. Touchdown from Nessie White, touchdown from Keyshawn Hines. And then you throw in 2 interceptions, and that's where we sit. 14-0 Mount Tahoma. Take away those 2 picks, John, and this could be a different story tonight here from Mount Tahoma Stadium.
Yeah, like I said, when you're playing a really good team, you're on the road, and they're a top 5 team in the state, you need close to perfection. And turnovers in a game like this against a team that is this good, it's hard to overcome those kinds of obstacles.
All right, so Bellarmine Prep will try to get something going here. And if you're Bellarmine Prep and you're Brian Jensen, you're okay. If you can go down and get something in the end zone here, you're going to start the second half with the ball. So down 14-0, but one little drive here, they can get on the board and make something happen, and then they start the third quarter with the ball. So
yeah, I think that it's really vital they get some sort of points on the board here, Chris. You feel like you've played really hard and have played pretty disciplined, and you don't have anything to show for it, right? So going into the break with some points, I think is would give Brian Jensen's team a much needed emotional lift.
Tigers Mariners, bottom of the 8th inning, 2-2 game. Keeping you posted on that one as well. A lot happening across the Pacific Northwest. If Mariners win that, they'll hit the road and take on the Toronto Blue Jays. 4 out of 7 series, games 1 and 2 in Toronto. Nice little throw, nice little catch, and that is Luke Shaw. He has been solid tonight, catching everything coming his way. And Burke Johnson throws a good ball. He is just got unlucky with that second interception, and then it was Elijah Durr who just made a great pick on the first one. Burke going to the air again, and that's Shaw again. And Shaw, he's got the first down. He's looked solid right now for Bellarmine Prep.
Another reception by number 10 of the Lions is good enough for a Lions first down.
Cody Couvert, the center. Will Zuck, Tyler Jensen, Cruz Vance, Sam Hunter all up on the line. Burke rolling to the right side. Was looking for Seth Couvert. Seth Couvert, Burke Johnson, the 2 captains on this Bellarmine Prep team. Who I've been told, John, it's early. We're not making our preseason basketball predictions yet, but I've been told Bellarmine Prep could be a pretty good little basketball team this year as well.
Well, and I think it starts with their head coach, Bobby Moorhead, who came in year 1 last year, and it just immediately establish a new culture. They play defense. They play hard. And those things go a long way in high school, Chris. They don't necessarily have Division I recruits, but you don't need that when you have 5 guys that are all playing hard and they're playing defense and playing for their coach.
And Shea Jones has been all over the field tonight for Mount Tahoma, and he makes another great little play right there as he breaks up the pass. Shane Jones. I was calling him Shea. Shane Jones. My apologies, Shane. Some people are probably thinking I had a nickname for him. You know, some of these kids have nicknames. I'm sure Shane would just prefer Shane. Burke Johnson shotgun. Mokel to his left. Burke going to throw. And I think he's been picked off by Elijah Durr.
And I think he's going to get him for a pass interference, but I think that's a poor call, Chris. He has a right to the ball as well, and I think that's just a good play he made on the football. So to see this probably get wiped away is unfortunate for Elijah with a great play on the ball there.
And I may be mistaken, but it looks like he has purple and gold gloves on. A little salute to where he'll be playing next year, Elijah Durr, committed to the University of Washington.
And I think that's why the Huskies like him on defense rather than offense. I think you see that play right there, and he's got a nose for the football, and he's got a little bit of nastiness. And I think you like that as a defensive coach, and I think he's going to be a good one for the Huskies.
Well, Keith Terry, watching him on the sidelines, he's not happy. I'm looking down and seeing a couple parents that are not happy. And, John, you saw it. It looked like a pretty good defensive play to us up here in the booth.
I think so. I think there's a little contact, but the defender has a right to make the play on the ball as well. And, I think that's what he did, and I think it's unfortunate that one gets wiped out.
All right, so what went from possibly a third interception is now a first down for Bellarmine Prep. Burke Johnston, shotgun formation, rolling, throwing, and caught. Great catch right there. Casey Gebauer, big old tight end, big old target right in the heart of the field. And we have a Bellarmine Prep player down on the field.
And you know what I like most about that play, Chris? That's the total opposite side of the field of Elijah Durr. Burke Johnston didn't even want to try Elijah Durr after that close call the play before. So goes to the other side and finds an open receiver.
Well, I think you nailed it right there. I would stay away from Durr's side of the field the rest of the night. I mean, he is a playmaker, and he is just a weapon on offense and defense. We have a Bellarmine Prep player down, so trainers are around the player. Can't get a number yet on that player. Burke Johnson brings his team up. As we talked about, Bellarmine Prep trying to get something in before the half, and they'll have the kickoff to start the third quarter. So Brian Jensen, and looks like the player is up. It was Josiah Mokel who was helping out on blocks, the running back.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be able to be healthy. He's been a huge part of what they are doing this year, just a sophomore, and I know Brian Jensen speaks really highly of him. So hopefully he's just a little shaken up and we'll be able to get back out there in the second half, Chris.
Mariners-Tigers game going to the ninth inning now. Still 2-2 on that one. So that's your update on that one. How they got there. Mitch Garver hit a sac fly to bring in Josh Naylor. That made it 1-0. Then Carpenter, the killer, with a 2-run home run in the sixth inning. Then Leo Rivas came in and drove home Jorge Polanco to make it 2-2 in the seventh. And they're now in the ninth inning. And here we go. Bellarmine Prep in the red zone. Burke Johnson throwing. Touchdown, Lions. Great play call right there for Brian Jensen. And just like that, Bellarmine Prep is on the board. Ben Heisel, the senior, 6'4", 193 pounds, from Bellarmine Prep with the touchdown catch, and he was wide open in there. Kick is up, and kick is good. So with 1:33 to play, we've got ourselves a ball game. Burke Johnson with a great throw. hook it up with Ben Heisel, the senior, with one of his bigger catches of the year. That makes it a 14-7 game, and that's exactly what Brian Jensen and his coaching staff needed here in the second quarter of play. And it all goes back, John Manley, to that penalty on Elijah Durr. Looks like he had the interception, called for pass interference. Bellarmine Prep gets the first down, and all of a sudden, they're in the end zone, 14-7.
Yeah, and again, I think it was an unfortunate call, but that's football. That happens, and good for Bellarmine for being able to stick with it and capitalize on that. And if you're Mount Tahoma, Chris, you just flush it and move on. You're going to get bad calls throughout the course of a game, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm sure Keith Terry's squad won't dwell too long on that one.
100%. That is sports. The officials are human beings, and who knows? They had the better view than anybody, so maybe it was. But you're right.
It was a good call.
It could have been a great call. Who are we to say? We're working here on the big game on instant replay, which is going to get interesting. Hopefully that will be year 2. But the big game brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. Coming to you live on King 5 Plus. You can watch us on YouTube. And here comes Tahoma with another return and another good return. They've got so many weapons on this team.
And that's going to set them up, Chris. The way they've been really committed to the run, I wasn't sure there was going to be enough time on the clock, but when you're starting at midfield, a minute 24 is doable, and I believe they've got 2 or 3 timeouts as well. So look for Mount Tahoma to try to score again before half.
Yeah, they do still have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Mount Tahoma, 1:24 on the clock. They have a 14-7 lead here. Going from our left to your right, Micah Cordero in the shotgun. He's going to go to the air. Cordero throws. And hard to say if the pass was complete or not. He was looking for Anthony Quintanilla Jr.
Pass complete to number 4, Anthony Quintanilla.
And that is a first down. Anthony Quintanilla for Mount Tahoma. Great little catch there. Nice throw, too, from Micah Cordero. So, clock ticking, 1:08. First down, Mount Tahoma trying to get into the end zone one more time. They've been there twice. Both have been runs. Cordero throws and almost picked off there.
And that should have been, Chris. It looks like it just kind of slips right through his hands, and unfortunate for Bellarmine. Could have gotten the ball back right before halftime.
Seth Couvert would love to have that one back. I think Seth was surprised that it came right onto his hands. He had good coverage there.
He almost looked like the receiver on that route. I mean, that went straight to him. So a tough one to drop, but gotta bounce back.
That is the voice of John Manley from the News Tribune. One of the best in the business when it comes to prep reporting. Cordero, handoff, Nezzy White breaks one tackle, and he's going to come down after picking up some change there. See if Tahoma uses one of their timeouts.
I would think they will. It looks like they will. And that's the luxury when you don't burn your timeouts early, Chris. You're able to run the football, and that's been their bread and butter, and they can still dial up a couple run plays here in the final minute.
At least the rains have stopped. It was a stormy start to the game. Some heavy rain stopped. It started raining again, but looks like the skies may have cleared a little bit here. But we're finally getting some fall football weather, John. I mean, when you start the season here in the Pacific Northwest, I think weeks 1 and 2 we had like 80-degree temperatures out there.
Well, I was out golfing with some friends last Sunday, and I was in shorts and a polo. So felt like it was early September weather still. So I was soaking it all up, but I'm sure there's a lot of folks happy to turn the page and have some cooler weather.
You have the pleasure of seeing a lot of teams. Biggest surprise so far, whether it's from 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, that you've seen from any team, any player out there? White River in 3A, they're 6-0. They just beat Federal Way last night.
That's been a little bit of a surprise.
Which could set up the ultimate battle of the bridge this year.
Which would be very fun.
Against White River. And never has that game been really more about the bridge because the bridge is broken.
It's broken.
So it is truly the battle for the bridge.
That's the battle to the bridge extends to Olympia with the lawmakers this year, and hopefully they can get that thing patched up.
Cordero under pressure, lets it fly, and he is picked off. That's Ezra Munge with the interception. And Micah Cordero had a lot of heat on him and still let it go. But Ezra Munge fired up. He gets the big pick for Bellarmine Prep, and that's a big stop there for the Lions.
Yeah, and a nice, good pressure on the quarterback. It kind of got in his face. It looked like he may have made some contact with Cordero's arm as he was throwing it, and a nice play by the defensive back to make the interception. Really impressive from Bellarmine. At 14-0, you can maybe get a little down on yourselves, but that hasn't been the case at all. And now we're looking at a potential tie game or a one-score game going into halftime.
Well, Brian Jensen has these guys really believing in themselves. They play for each other. He talked about that before the game. This is a Bellarmine Prep team that will play from start to finish, and we've been seeing that in the first quarter. Like you said, down 14-0, 2 interceptions. Would have been easy to hang your head. They do not. Now it's 14-7. They have the ball. They're going to have the ball to start the second half. So Brian Jensen and his Lions not in a bad position. Could be a lot worse for them right now.
Absolutely. I think they're in really good shape going into halftime here.
Burke Johnson lets it fly, and there's going to be a penalty there. He was looking for Seth Couvert, and that's going to be pass interference. And you never know. I don't know the names of all the kickers. I think Cullum Lyons is the kicker possibly for Bellarmine Prep. We'll have to see, but sometimes Bellarmine Prep gets these soccer kids that are pretty good little kickers.
Yeah, anytime you got a good soccer program, which Bellarmine, going back to Joe Waters, always had
Jumpin' Joey Waters
always had a good soccer program. So anytime you can have a good soccer program, that's nice to tap as a head football coach.
27 seconds left in the half. Coming up at halftime, the Mount Tahoma T-Bird Cheer Squad will be performing. We'll have our top plays of the week, and then we'll bring you the third and fourth quarters. Coming to you on King 5 Plus. Been a good game so far tonight. Burke Johnson didn't see anything, keeps it, rolls out of bounds with about 22 seconds left to go in the second quarter of play.
And he can move, Chris, for a 6'5" guy. You might think he's just a pocket passer, but you see him get out there, and he's got a little bit of speed to his game also. And I hope there's a college out there that will take a chance on Burke Johnston, because I think he could be a very good college football player at some level.
Is he a basketball player too?
I believe so, yeah.
He gets out on the hoop court too. All right. 21 seconds to play. Let's see what Brian Jensen has cooked up here for the Lions. Burke Johnson's going to throw under attack, and nice catch there. Luke Shaw has been phenomenal tonight. He's wearing number 10, and he's looking a whole lot like Cooper Kupp out there. This guy doesn't drop anything. He's a tough kid.
Well, that's when you're throwing it as hard as Johnston is, you need sure-handed receivers, and he has certainly been that tonight.
I don't think he's related, but there's another Shaw, Logan Shaw, from Bellarmine Prep, who is a phenomenal lacrosse player and is a tough kid and could easily be out here on the football field. But we've slowly, over the last, I'd say 5 years, John, seen lacrosse taking away some athletes as it's building some strength here in the Pacific Northwest.
It's a big thing. People are always emailing me, you need to cover more lacrosse, and people are quick to, the lacrosse community is quick to point out how quickly it's growing and the popularity. And, yeah, I think there's a lot of people, a lot of kids out there playing lacrosse right now. So if you're kind of in on the ground level, I think it's a good time to get into that sport. And it just seems from a physical standpoint and a competition standpoint, kids really seem to enjoy it, Chris. And anything that gets kids out there playing is fine in my book.
Yeah, I agree. I'll continue to support bringing pickleball into the high school ranks, but lacrosse is definitely taking off. Now, it is not sanctioned by the WIAA, they have club lacrosse teams across the state. They have their own tournaments, and some of the lacrosse coaches have told me they're fine with not being sanctioned because they can do it their way and they don't have to go by the WAA rules and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I would think ultimately you would like to see it sanctioned and have an opportunity to have a state tournament and play some teams from the east side maybe more often. But, yeah, I think there's enough teams around here, especially on the west side, Chris, that it's probably just fine the way they have it set up.
And it's going to be a late hit on Mount Tahoma. Burke Johnson took a pretty big blow after the throw. Tahoma fans, Mount Tahoma fans, not happy. That's a big penalty. And this is where I said they can have a kicker. Now they're in field goal range here. They get the ball to start the third quarter. So let's see what Coach Jensen does. Yep, they are bringing out their kicker.
It's like number 80.
Column Lyons. You always like to look at their shoes if they're wearing those soccer shoes. He's a pretty big kid, too, though.
Well, and if you have the last name Lyons and you're kicking for Bellarmine Prep, that just seems like fate, Chris.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be able to get them within 4 points here going into the locker room.
Lions trying to get 3 more points for the Lions here. Down 14-7. Been a good little first half here of the big game. Nezzy White, 67-yard touchdown run, followed up by a Keyshawn Hines touchdown. Then it was Burke Johnson with the touchdown throw to Ben Heisel. And you almost have to rewind a little bit on the Burke Johnson touchdown, and you look back at the Casey Gebauer big reception down the middle of the play. Mm-hmm. So Burke Johnson using his tight ends, Casey Gebauer a tight end. And here we go. Bellarmine Preps. Column Lions to kick. Goodsell Hunter to hold. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Mr. Lyons has himself a leg.
That's a great field goal kick, and it certainly had the distance all the way. It was just a question of whether it was going to get through the uprights, and it does. And you have to imagine Mount Tahoma was a little stunned by the way that final few minutes of the half went. I mean, they looked in full control of that game, up 14-0, and a really good response from Brian Jensen's Bellarmine team.
Well, at the half, Mount Tahoma leads it, but it's a tight one here. The King 5 Big Game of the Week coming to you live on King 5 Plus, brought to you by Phillips Law Firm. Mount Tahoma 14, Bellarmine Prep 10. Coming up, we've got the cheerleaders for Mount Tahoma, and we've got the top plays of the week as well. We'll be right back.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
let's go, let's get it, are you ready, are you ready, are you ready, yeah, we ready, let's go, let's get it, are you ready, are you ready, are you ready, yeah, we ready, big time players, 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 go hard, 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 big time players, big time players, big time players, big time players, gotta get it in a big time, let's put it on the mark, do it on the line, gotta stay focused, gotta keep the same mind, let's go hard, go hard, go long, yeah, go strong, don't back down, let's be it, when it's done, they need to press on, gotta get it,
Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to Mount Tahoma Stadium. Chris Egan coming to you here alongside the News Tribune's John Manley, who will join us for the third quarter. But as we get set for the second half, the T-Birds lead at 14-10. There's been some big plays tonight. I'm sure we'll see Nezzy White in next week's Plays of the Week with a 67-yard touchdown. But until then, here are the Plays of the Week from last week. Here's Paul Sylvie.
Number 9, Bothell and Bellevue. The Wolverines put an exclamation point on this run. The pitch to Drayson Jimerson at his own 35. He goes around the outside through the pile till he hits pay dirt. 65 yards for a touchdown. Bothell pulls out the win. Number 8, Kennedy Catholic's Derek Coleman Brusa through the line like a rocket in the Lancers win over Auburn. Number 7, first of 2 from Mount Rainier, Nolan Enghusen lets it fly over 40 yards and drops a dime to Rylan King in stride. Number 6, Skyline and Eastlake going at it. Wolves quarterback Ryder Barry Smith loses the handle, scoops it up, goes on a little adventure, and he is in for 6. Skyline wins this one. Number 5, back to Mount Rainier, and Nolan Enghusen fumbles the snap, picks it up, and then starts dodging defenders. Avoids 8 would-be tacklers for the touchdown and the win. Number 4, Liberty and Lake Washington. Kang Sr. running back Ronan Holmes finds an edge. He's gone into the end zone in Lake Washington's win. Number 3, Lake Stevens and Glacier Peak. How about the Grizzlies? Isaiah Owens works his way through the line. Oh, there he goes. 80 yards for a touchdown. Number 2 from the same game, the Vikings, Max Cook is going to do Owens one better on the kickoff return. Cook, the sophomore, goes 95 yards for the touchdown. Look at him. A resounding Lake Stevens win in this one. And the number 1 play belongs to Sumner. This is Lance McGee. Goes inside, cuts it back. He's breaking tackles left and right. Looks like he's going to be hauled down at the end here, but no. 69-yard touchdown for the Spartans in a loss to Puyallup.
Welcome back, everybody, to the King 5 big game of the week. Coming to you this week from Mount Tahoma Stadium in Tacoma, Washington. The Mount Tahoma T-Birds, undefeated this season, 5-0, taking on 4-1 Bellarmine Prep, the Lions. Start of the third quarter, it's 14-10 Mount Tahoma. John Manley from the Tacoma News-Tribune, one of the top prep writers in the great state of Washington, joining us in this week's Big Game of the Week broadcast. And, John, this has been an interesting game tonight. We saw a Bellarmine Prep offense that came out. It was moving the chains. Then it was an Elijah Durr interception. And then Mount Tahoma went to the run game in the second quarter. Started with a 67-yard touchdown run from Nezzy White. That was followed up by a touchdown run from Keyshawn Hines. Looks like they had the momentum. Looks like they get a third interception, gets called as pass interference, and the next thing you know, Bellarmine Prep is in the end zone. They get a touchdown. They end the second quarter with a big field goal. So just like that, it's 14-10. We got a good ball game here.
It feels like very much a momentum game, doesn't it? I mean, you get these big momentum swings, whether it's a turnover or just being able to start establishing the run, or just be able to take advantage of a penalty or maybe a bad call. And just whatever team's kind of riding that hot hand of momentum has been the one that's been able to put some scoring drives together. So I would expect that to kind of continue in the second half. I think maybe you'll see another turnover or two. And, if you set yourself up with a short field, who knows? And with Bellarmine especially, if they're able to make the field a little shorter, and Burke Johnson's been playing good football. I mean, maybe the T-Birds could be on upset alert here, Chris.
Yeah, no question. Burke Johnson has played great. The stats will show 2 interceptions. What the stats don't show is the second one that got tipped around a little bit, and Mount Tahoma picked it off. Elijah Durr with a great interception on the first one. We mentioned all night in this broadcast it's a busy night. You got University of Washington playing a Friday night football game. You got the Seattle Mariners taking on the Detroit Tigers, Game 5 of the ALDS. That one tied up 2-2, bottom of the 10th inning. Mariners have a runner on second with 1 out, so that's going to be interesting as we're keeping an eye on that one. And then this would be, I think you and I were talking about it, this is definitely the game of the night here across the state of Washington. You look at 2 teams that battling for first place in league, a couple teams that we will see in the playoffs. How far will they go? I think this is a great test here in Week 6 for Brian Jensen and his Lions to see how they stack up against a Mount Tahoma team that some say could win a state title. So only down 14-10 of this thing, I think that's a confidence booster for Bellarmine Prep right now.
Yeah, I think they got to feel really good about what they've been able to do in the first half and the score right now. And you just never know with these mid-season games. Mount Tahoma's coming off a really emotional high last week, beating Lincoln. I know that game, when you got the east side versus the south side, it means a lot to the kids in the community on both those teams. And the fact that they were so charged up to play that game, they get the win. And now you got to come back and play a really good team the next week too, Chris. And so we'll see if they're able to kind of focus in. And Bellarmine is going to be happy to just kind of keep plugging away and try to play spoiler here tonight in Tacoma.
1:41 left on the clock until we kick things off here in the third quarter of play. John Manley, Chris Egan coming to you from Mount Tahoma Stadium. We've been talking about the T-Birds and their chances in the 3A ranks. This is a Mount Tahoma team that has not won a state title since 1980. 1979, they went undefeated that year. Some greats that played here back in the day. You got Ray Horton, Ahmad Rashad, just a few of the names that played at Mount Tahoma on this football field. Jim Ellers, the quarterback in 1970, 71, and 72. I don't know why, John, these names are just in my head, but they are.
You're an encyclopedia of just random high school sports knowledge, Chris, so that doesn't surprise me.
Well, the good thing is, John, is a lot of people can't, there's a guy by the name of Mark Blau. He will text me once in a while like, Chris, actually, Mount Tahoma won that game in 1971, and it wasn't at Lincoln Bowl. It was actually, so he's always listening, and he's there to correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, if you're the encyclopedia, Mark Blau is the super encyclopedia.
Yes,
he knows he knows a little bit of everything down there at the Pierce County Sports Museum, and it's impressive just the amount of knowledge that he has of the sports scene here.
And I do need to give them a shout out. The TAC, Tacoma Athletic Commission, they do a great job every year of honoring the high school kids in all the sports and giving out thousands of dollars in scholarships to the South Sound, and I think that's pretty good. Cool, everything they do. Update from T-Mobile Park. Mariners started with a double, and this couldn't get anything across. J.P. Crawford pop out, Randy Arozarena strike out, and now we're heading to the 11th inning from T-Mobile Park. So that's a thriller, and this is a thriller as well. The King 5 Big Game, that's Big Game Louie on the camera tonight. Brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you and bringing high school sports into your living room. John Manley, Chris Egan. On a chilly night in Tacoma, the rains have stopped, and it will be Bellarmine Prep football to start the third quarter of play. Luke Shaw couldn't get much going there on the return. Bellarmine Prep in their navy pants, white tops, white helmets. And it will be Mount Tahoma out in the field on defense with their King 5 yellow pants, black tops with the red numbers.
And I'll be curious, Chris, what type of challenge Keith Terry and his coaching staff made to those players at halftime. They, like I said last week, they kind of came out of the gates a little slow against Lincoln and then really turned it on in the second half. I can't imagine he's thrilled about the way things transpired in the final few minutes of that first half. So curious to see what kind of response we see from Mount Tahoma here.
All right, Burke Johnson throwing, and there he is. If you're in a high school fantasy reception league, Luke Shaw's doing pretty good for you tonight. Then again, I don't know a lot of people in high school fantasy leagues. Maybe just you and I, John, would be the only two.
Well, we did one. It's kind of we don't actually sit there and score it every week, but my coworker and I did do a little fantasy draft with high school players from the South Sound every year, and had a quarterback from Life Christian go number 1 overall this year, and it's just kind of a fun exercise. But yeah, we don't actually sit there and score it every week and make bench adjustments or any of that. So,
Burke Johnson under center. Fakes the handoff. He's throwing, going deep. Oh, in and out of the hands of Luke Shaw. That may be the first pass that Luke Shaw has dropped. And that's what I love about the King 5 big game of the week. This is not some robot camera that gives you the same wide shot the whole time. Big game Louis was in on that ball, zooming in. I love it. And right in and out of the hands of Luke Shaw.
And it's you guys do a tremendous job with this broadcast and the quality of the camera work and the audio, Chris, and everything. So just kudos to you guys and nice job shining a spotlight on the high school athletes.
Well, I call him E-Money on the engineering front over there. I mean, he's been on fire. The pinball wizard, Burke Johnson. Casey Gebauer in motion. Burke Johnson rolling, throwing. And nice defensive play right there from the T-Birds.
And if that doesn't get swatted away, that's in Elijah Duras territory again. And Burke Johnston is, kudos to him. He's going to keep trying him, but I don't think I would look in that direction if it were me, Chris.
No, Elijah Dura was there. Meyer Rustahart was there as well. I would just, I think I would go wherever Elijah Dura is not at this point.
Yeah, he is a legit talent and really fun to watch, and I know he's a major part of this team and this team's state championship aspirations.
Eli Shaw into punt for Bellarmine Prep. They'll have to punt it away on their opening drive here in the second. It's a line drive, but that's going to get a decent roll. And Bellarmine Prep will take that. That's going to roll all the way down to about the 36-yard line. So good little punt right there from Shaw. If you're just joining us here, Phillips Law Firm, big game of the week, coming to you live on King 5 Plus. Mount Tahoma took a 14-0 lead. Couple nice runs in the second quarter. Bellarmine Prep answers back with a Burke Johnston touchdown throw. Then they get a field goal from Callum Lyons at the end of the second quarter. So that's where we stand, 14-10. Mount Tahoma, third quarter, 10:51 to play.
And another false start, it looks like, and that's been a disappointment from an offensive line that's otherwise played pretty well tonight.
They have been pretty solid. (14-10). What would you pick, John, here? I'm looking at next week's big games of the week. You've got Curtis at Sumner, Shorewood versus Mount Lake Terrace, West Seattle at Ingram, Kennedy Catholic at Stadium, Cedar Crest at Interlake, Edwood at Shorewood. Has Curtis got enough firepower to hang with the Spartans on the road at Sumner?
Yeah, I think they could definitely make that a game. I think Darren McKay's squad is that's probably one of the best defensive lines that I've seen in person this year. They were beating Lakes almost the entire game until Lakes had kind of a crazy comeback win in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I think Curtis could absolutely make that a game.
Always a fun environment down there at Sunset Chef Stadium. That's Nezzy White going to work there. He's had some big runs. He's had several runs called back. Kennedy Catholic at Stadium 4-1.
Yeah, and a really good player, Darius Sum, who they line up in the slot. He plays some running back, really explosive option for that team, for the Tigers. But Kennedy Catholic, I don't think they've lost a league game in several years in that league, so I wouldn't pick against the Lancers in that one.
Coleman Brusa boy, one of the best around. Anthony Quintanilla Jr. with the reception and the first down for Mount Tahoma, who's starting to move the chains a little bit. Ball now on the 50-yard line, first down and 10. Clock running in the third quarter, 10 to play. Stadium, probably one of your best venues in the state of Washington.
Well, from the top, certainly. The view is iconic.
Yes.
It's an incredible view of the bay there, and the obviously just the school itself, kind of that castle like.
Yes.
But then you walk down, and you go into the bathrooms, and it looks like Alcatraz in there, and it leaves a little bit to be desired. So,
well,
when you look at it from far away,
from a distance,
it's a pretty facility, but you get a little closer, and it's got some warts.
I had a couple girlfriends like that back in the day. We won't mention any names live on the air, but happily married now, though. I'm happily married. That's all I can say. All right, second down and 8, 14-10. Mount Tahoma with the lead, and they also have the ball. I will talk about a story about Stadium here in a second. Micah Cordero has plenty of time. He lets it fly, going deep, and catch is in and out of the hands of Elijah Durr.
And I think if that's not underthrown, Chris, that's a touchdown. And that's been the kind of what just hasn't clicked for Mount Tahoma in this one. They've had those opportunities with receivers getting behind the Bellarmine secondary and just haven't been able to cash in on those. And that's disappointing when you're able to run the football and kind of set up those plays to not be able to cash in on those.
We were at a game at Stadium. It was a big game of the week, and it was a very foggy Friday night. And, that fog settles in on that field. And they had, I think, and I love all the officials, but it was probably the oldest officials crew in the state. They were in their 70s and 80s. You could not see 5 yards with that fog, and it was probably the roughest officiated game. To their defense, you just couldn't see.
Yeah, that's tricky. I don't know how much blame you can really cast in a situation like that. Everyone's just kind of trying to do their best, I would think.
And that's what they tried, and in the end, it's a fun night at the Stadium. First down,
a nice
T-Birds.
bounce back from Cordero there after a disappointing missed throw on the last one. As a quarterback, you just got to be able to move on, and he makes a nice throw on that one for the first down.
All right, so Mount Tahoma stops Bellarmine Prep as they got the ball in the third quarter. Defense holding. Mount Tahoma, 2 receivers to the left side. Cordero on the shotgun. He's going to hand it off. Not much happening there. Casey Gebauer picking up another tackle. Casey Gebauer having a big night on the defensive side of the ball for Bellarmine Prep. He's been a good player to watch tonight. Casey Gebauer, just a sophomore. He's a linebacker, 6'1", 200 pounds. Keep an eye on another 9th grader. How about Brian Jensen's son is out there. Tyler Jensen, just a 9th grader, starts on the offensive line. I remember when he was just a ball boy on the sidelines, and here he is suiting up tonight for the Lions, 9th grader, getting the start. Pretty cool stuff there to be playing for his dad, and his dad's one of the best around. All right, Cordero, shotgun, fakes the handoff, throws, catch to Anthony Quintanilla.
Yeah, and I think they're going to say, they're calling it incomplete. Either way, I think his knee might have been down, so kind of a dead-on arrival play there.
And that's exactly what they say. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10. You got to believe we're in 2-down territory for Coach Keith Terry. Offensive coordinators, Gino Munoz, Greg Taylor, helping Terry call the shots over there on the sidelines of the Mount Tahoma sidelines. His coaching staff has done, as we've mentioned, just a phenomenal job the last 3 years building up this program that hadn't been to the playoffs for over 3 decades, and now they've been to the state playoffs 2 years in a row, trying to make it 3 this year. undefeated, wins over Yelm, Camas, Mount Si, Central Kitsap, and got the big win over the Lincoln Aves. Cordero looking, throwing, going to the air. Could have been out of bounds. And I think that's where they're going to say no catch on that one.
Heck of a grab, though,
Yeah.
Chris. Even if he was ruled out of bounds, that's a nice throw and catch from Mount Tahoma.
So that's going to bring up 4th down. Don't seem to see any punters heading to the field. Cordero coming over to talk with Coach Terry. Wants to see what he's got planned here. Still 2-2 game from T-Mobile Park. It's a thriller here. Fans have got to be on the edge of their seats. You are 1 run away from advancing to the American League Championship Series for the first time in a long time to face off against the Toronto Blue Jays, or you're 1 run the other way from the season being over.
Nothing ever comes easy for your Seattle Mariners,
No.
does it?
As a lifelong fan of them and somebody that's covered them for 25 years, I'll tell you no, it does not. Cordero with the throw was looking for Kane Roy, and that was incomplete. Casey Gebauer in on that play. He is everywhere.
A really nice stop from Bellarmine. They have the 3 and out to begin the second half and punt the ball, but they're able to swing momentum back in their favor, like we had talked about it at the halftime break, and we'll see if they're able to go down and score and take a lead here, Chris.
All right. So here comes the Lions. 6:58 to play. Third quarter play. Down 4. Burke Johnson throwing, looking for Luke Shaw. Overthrew him just a little bit right there.
And there's no question who his favorite target is in this offense. He is looking Luke Shaw's way early and often.
He's looking for Luke Shaw a lot, but when you look at the success they've had, it's been Burke Johnson going to his tight ends, Casey Gebauer, and Ben Heisel, who had the touchdown there in the second quarter. So it's been the tight ends who've made the big plays. Luke Shaw, though, has picked up a lot of receptions tonight and picked up a lot of yards as well. In motion, Casey Gebauer. Pitch out. Not much running room right there. The Mount Tahoma defense is all over that one right there. That was Dre Moore, just a 9th grader, John, getting the carry. And you've got to wonder, Josiah Mokel was the Bellarmine prep player, went off the field in the second quarter, had trainers looking at him. He walked off the field on his own, but they now have a 9th grader in at running back for Bellarmine prep.
Yeah, and, not necessarily I know Brian likes his team this year, but they don't always have a ton of depth at Bellarmine, so that aspect certainly tested if Mokel is out right now.
Casey Gebauer in motion again. Burke Johnson rolling to the right side, throwing, looking, and once again looking for Shaw. Little high. Shaw made a great effort over there, but just throw was a little high for him. 4th down at 10. That's probably going to bring out the punting unit for Coach Jensen and the Lions. Two-two game from T-Mobile Park. Bottom of the 11th inning. I tell you what. This team loves to make it exciting.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Casey Gebauer is blocking. And that's Shaw punting. Another decent punt. Kicking game having no problems tonight for Bellarmine Prep. They've been pretty good. Got some big legs. Lions, a lot of success over at Bellarmine Prep. Mount Tahoma football team is finding a lot of success recently with Coach Terry and his staff. Defensive coordinator Dion Alexander's done a great job tonight. But here comes, what do you want to see from this T-Birds offense here? I mean, it seems like they just can't stop Nezzy White, but the only thing that stops them are the penalty flags.
Yeah, I think you stick with the plan. It just needs to be better execution. They're able to run the football. they're picking up these chunk plays in the run game. The two things that have killed them, it's penalties and it's missing on those deep shots. If they can shore up the penalties and Micah Cordero can connect with some of his receivers, I think they're in great position to be able to go down here and score a touchdown right now.
King 5 Big Game of the Week brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. John Manley, News Tribune, alongside Chris Egan here. Mount Tahoma leads it 14-10. Third quarter to play, 5:25 to go. Cordero throws, incompletion. Logan Walker, the intended receiver on the play. Seth Couvert helping out on defense there. Couvert's been all over the field tonight. He's done a good job on defense for the Lions. Casey Gebauer seems like the leader back there for this Bellarmine Prep defense. Talking, sending out the signals, making sure everybody's on the same page. Talking there a little bit with Cruz Vance, number 53. Cordell hands it off. Nezzy White breaks one tackle. Nice little pickup right there. And that's going to be a first down for the T-Birds. Nezzy White just follow those big blockers, big old Dallas and Andrew and Edwin. Find some running room. As you said, just stay away from the penalties and good things will happen. And that's a nice carry there for White and another first down for the T-Birds.
Yeah, I think if they find themselves out of those first and 15s, they've really been able to move the ball pretty effectively.
Cordero hands it off. Keyshawn Hines now in at running back. And there's Gebauer with another tackle for Bellarmine Prep. Tight ball game here. We knew it was going to be a battle of a couple very well coached, disciplined teams, and they are living up to the hype tonight. Micah Cordero, second down and 10 in the shotgun formation. Kamari Wilson pointing out to who he needs to block. Keyshawn Hines in the backfield with Cordero. Cordero's going to go to the air. He's got Elijah Durr, and Durr has himself a first down. There's Elijah Durr. Purple and gold gloves signifying his commitment to the University of Washington. They're playing tonight as well. A lot of activity happening in the PNW. First down and 10. Ball on the 23. Pass complete to Anthony Quintanilla. And that's going to be ruled down.
Kind of a broken play there. Kind of mishandles the snap and is able to collect the ball and make a throw and first down for the T-Birds.
First down for the T-Birds in the red zone. Ball now on the 13-yard line. I have a feeling we're going to see a young man by the name of Nezzy White get the ball right here. Lining up right next to Cordero. Nezzy White on his right. Nope, Cordero's going to go to the air. He's got time. And he was looking for Kane Roy. Good defensive pressure there from Bellarmine Prep. Andrew Dobler, the senior, puts the pressure on Roy. Surprised on that first down, we didn't see Nezzy White get the rock.
Yeah, I think that everyone's expecting that, and maybe go with the unexpected, right? It doesn't pay off in that situation, but don't mind the call.
Coach Keith Terry says, Egan, we'll show you what we do. All right, Cordero, this time he's going to hand it off. Nezzy White shakes, bakes. He goes left, he goes right, he goes up and over. And nice little run right there. Luke Shaw making receptions and making tackles tonight. He was the only thing standing in between the end zone and Nezzy White. And Luke Shaw comes up limping a little bit. And you would be too if you had to stop a guy by the name of Nezzy White. Great tackle there. That sets up a 3rd down and 4. Got to believe the T-Birds are in 2-down territory. Then again, they may have a good kicker. John, I never know. It's the kicking game, you just never know in high school sports.
It's hit or miss in high school.
Felix Diaz now in the backfield for the T-Birds. Fake handoff. And quarterback keeper, that was Micah Cordero, fooling everyone on that one. Faked the handoff to Felix Diaz. Cordero kept it. And Cordero took it to the left side, and Cordero ran it in for the touchdown. Searching the field for flags, and I don't see anyone, so that's going to be a touchdown for Mount Tahoma.
And that's just a good read on the option there, and Cordero keeps it and gets around the end, and that's 6 points for the T-Birds.
That's exactly what Keith Terry needed. A good drive there. Very well balanced. A lot of Nezzy White, a little bit of Keyshawn Haynes. We saw the catch to Elijah Durr. Anthony Quintanilla Jr. had some nice receptions on the drive as well. Very well balanced attack from Keith Terry and company there. (20-10) as we wait for the extra point. And meanwhile, the Mariners and the Tigers are now heading to the 12th inning of play. Some members of the media have been there for 8 hours, haven't done anything except just eat in the media room. And I know that, John, because I've got reports from a lot.
Well, there are worse places to have a meal, Chris. It's they usually take pretty good care of you there, and at T-Mobile and at Lumen as well.
That they do, and Mount Tahoma comes out with a big drive here in the third quarter to take a 21-10 lead. Bellarmine Prep defense was eliminating the big plays, but Mount Tahoma just chipping away. Finally getting in the end zone. Great play call there from Gino Munoz and Greg Taylor, the offensive coordinators for the T-Birds. A fake handoff to Felix Diaz. Cordero keeps it, goes to the left side and scores. So 3 touchdowns tonight from Mount Tahoma. They've all been rushing touchdowns. White with 1, Hines with 1, and Cordero now with the third, which brings us to the score, 21-10, Mount Tahoma. Kickoff is up. Let that go in the end zone. I don't know about you, John, but the NFL has become I can't even figure out the rules on the kickoffs anymore. It's become so confusing to me.
Yeah, there's a landing zone, or it seems like it's like a FAA flight instructions or something.
I feel like you got to take a geometry class to figure that out.
It's kind of a mess. I don't know what the answer is besides just going back to the old kickoff, but maybe the simplest solution is the best one, because what they got going now is it's less than ideal.
I wish we had the time tonight. Unfortunately, when this job is over, I got to go do a third job, and that's report on the big game and do a post-game report. But I would love to take the big game crew, because you're a South Sounder, to the Cloverleaf for pizza one day. You've been there, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, 6th Ave. That's a classic Tacoma spot right there. And chances are, Chris, if you ask me if I've been to a Tacoma spot, I probably have.
Is it the MSM or MSN Deli?
MSM, yeah. That's another good one. And, boy, I don't want to get into that on this broadcast, but some whole drama with the family that owned that thing and the nephew or something. They've started their own sandwich shop now in Lakewood, and it's very similar to MSM. So there's lots of good subs around the Tacoma area if you're so inclined.
Because of that, okay, all right. So we're helping you with sandwiches, with pizza, and with high school football. And Daddy tonight, Mount Tahoma, up 21-10. Burke Johnson been very solid tonight. Nice throw right there, and guess who's there with the reception? Luke Shaw. The flag came after the reception. So
like maybe a face mask there after the play.
That's what I'm thinking. And took 3 T-Birds to bring Shaw down. This is one tough kid. He's having a big night. He's been playing hard on defense and offense. I think he's been out there on special teams. And sure enough, that will be on Mount Tahoma. So here comes Bellarmine Prep with 1:44 to play in the third quarter. Down 21-10. Burke Johnston, solid throw there. Mariners Tigers, 12th inning, 2-2 game. Oh boy. You would think the Mariners would have more pitching than the Tigers, but
all it takes is one swing at this point, Chris.
Yes, it does.
So.
And look at this. This young man is just continues to make play after play. Luke Shaw putting together a little tape tonight for the college recruits.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and Burke Johnston is having no issues just targeting him over and over.
Oh, it works. Just keep going to him. And that could look like another possible face mask there.
I wonder at what point Mount Tahoma, Keith Terry and his staff look at, just moving Elijah Durr over to cover Luke Shaw because he's –
Yeah, I would think that would be a good game plan. Seth Couvert with the catch there. Seth Couvert on the left, lined up on the right side. And they're going to take a timeout. And I'm not saying that the big game is pumping into the coaches' headsets, John, but there's a chance maybe they heard you right there, and they're taking a timeout and going to put Durr on Shaw right now.
I'll certainly defer to the Mount Tahoma coaching staff. There are a lot of excellent coaches over there, but that's what I would do at this point. If you got one receiver continuing to torch you all the way down the field, stick your best corner on him and see what happens. I don't think it could go any worse than things are going right now at the moment.
Yeah, they are Bellarmine Prep moving the chains. 53 seconds to play here. Third quarter. It's been a good battle tonight. Burke Johnston definitely showing he has the ability to play at that next level. The toughest thing with these high school kids now, John, and we're seeing it, is the transfer portals, the transfers. It's tough for high school kids now to get recruited because so many of these college coaches are just waiting for the portal to open. Burke Johnston throwing, was looking for his tight end Casey Gabauer, incomplete on the play.
Yeah, it's really tough for the high school kids right now. You have a lot of really good high school football players and basketball players and whatever sport that are just normally would have a D1 offer, maybe a D2 or something like that, and they just can't get any looks. And I remember Vaughn Weems out of Federal Way, this awesome basketball player a few years ago, Chris, and he was I just scratching my head how he's not getting recruited, and last year he's one of the best JUCO players in the country. So it's just a tough time for high schoolers to get recruited now.
Burke Johnston throwing, in and out of the hands of Luke Shaw. He has been so good tonight. A lot of people say hit you in the fingers, you should be able to haul it in, and that one definitely hit him at the tips of his fingers there. It would have been a spectacular catch, but definitely was catchable.
Oh, I think he would love to have that one back, and I'm sure he would tell you he should have caught that one. But, again, the separation, and he finds himself open in the end zone, and you have to wonder if Mount Tahoma might try to make some type of coverage adjustment at some point.
Here's Callum Lyons. Kick is a knuckleball, but it's good. 2 for 2 for young Lyons. Putting 6 points on the board tonight for Bellarmine Prep. And just like that, 21-13 in the kicking game for Bellarmine Prep. I mentioned it's very good, and 2 field goals tonight for Mr. Lyons.
And that's it makes it a one-score game if you're able to get a 2-point conversion. So don't count Bellarmine out of this one just yet.
40 seconds to play here. Third quarter of play. Mount Tahoma leads at 21-13. King 5 TV coming up tonight on King 5 Plus. If the Mariners win, we'll bring you post-game coverage from T-Mobile Park. The big game will stay here from start to finish on King 5 Plus. There'll be plenty of post-game reaction as well. Mariners win, there'll be a big celebration. Then it will be off to Toronto for Game 1. But the way things are going, that game may never end. Good news is the Mariners do have pitching. Still have Emerson Hancock, who could pitch another 8 innings if you needed him to go. That game's 2-2, 12th inning of play. This one, 21-13 Mount Tahoma. Huskies in action tonight. A lot of Thursday games this week. Onside kick, Bellarmine Prep, and they get it. How about that from Brian Jensen? Wow. A momentum shifter right there, John Manley.
And that's a perfect time to dial it up. You're not late in the game where it's super obvious, and you get the field goal, and it's a perfect time to draw it up. I love that call. Even if it doesn't work, I still like the call. And you get the ball back here, and you got a chance to go tie the game potentially.
What a pickup there. Sam Piacelli, the senior for Bellarmine Prep. Just a heads-up play. Coach Jensen and the Bellarmine Prep staff saw something. It worked. You don't see the onside kicks work that often. It does right there. And back on the field, Burke Johnson and company. Under pressure, escapes it. Going to run, pick up a couple yards. Big tackle right there from Peter Liato. But he was in trouble. Looked like a possible loss of 6. The next thing you know, he picks up 2 yards on the play.
And that's, again, just Burke Johnson showing that elusiveness and that pocket presence. He sees a couple Mount Tahoma defenders coming straight at him, steps up in the pocket, and is able to get a couple yards out of what looked like a dead play.
All right, so second down. Looks like that's going to be the end of the third quarter. John Manley, you've been spectacular tonight. You're welcome to stay, but I know you got another job to do. Your main job. So whenever you need to get out of here, you take real quickly. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on X again, and then we'll let you go. At the end of 3, it's Mount Tahoma 21, Bellarmine Prep 13, but the Lions have the ball and they're moving. We'll be back for the fourth quarter.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Welcome back to Mount Tahoma Stadium. Elijah Durr just laid the hit of the night, laid a licking. John Manley, it has been a pleasure having you in the booth tonight. Real quickly, I want to go back to where people can find all your stuff.
TheNewsTribune.com, the News Tribune app, on X at Manley_TNT. You can find some of my videos on Instagram, on our TNT account, on TikTok, where we're kind of everywhere these days. So if you're a fan of high school sports coverage and you value that type of coverage and think it's important for our communities, I would just encourage you to subscribe and support our work. We're able to do our work through subscriptions. And so if you like that work and value it, thenewstribune.com, I think it's a great value. Not only gives you access to our high school sports coverage, Greg Bell's Seahawks coverage, our TNT Diner, dining news, food, restaurants, and just all the stuff we cover. So that's where you can find us.
It has been a pleasure, my friend. I appreciate you joining us tonight in the booth. What's turned out to be a pretty good game tonight. Mount Tahoma 21, Bellarmine Prep 13. Fourth quarter of play, 10:36 to go. Burke Johnston, senior, captain, trying to get his squad. 4th and 14. The Lions are going to be probably punting here. Casey Gebauer. Never know what Coach Jensen's going to do. They just had an onside kick that worked. And they will. The snap is way high. That's trouble. Still gets it off. Amazing play there to even get the punt away.
And a pretty good punt.
Yes, look at this. Going to roll all the way down to about the 32-yard line.
He's got to run back about 20 yards, turn around, kick that thing, and that's pretty good, all things considered.
Eli Shaw, that was a very athletic play. We talk about this Bellarmine prep. That's another ninth grader, Eli Shaw, making a very heads-up move. I mean, some of these ninth graders don't even have their driver's permits yet, and to turn around like that, it's heads-up play from that young man. All right, Mount Tahoma would love just to eat some clock away and get something in the end zone and try to put this game away. We'll see what Brian Jensen can do on defense with his Bellarmine prep lines. Handoff. Nezzy White. He's going to pick up a couple yards on the play. Nez White picking up probably 5 yards on that play. Second down and 5. Ball on the 37. Cordero, shotgun. Handoff. Nez White. And Nez White should have enough for the first down there. And he does. Nezzy White moving the chains. Clock ticking. Both teams with all their timeouts. T-Birds now moving right to left. South sound of Tacoma tonight. Detroit Tigers had the bases loaded. And Bizzardo got out of the jam. Those fans paid a lot of money to be there, but they're getting their money's worth tonight. How about this little run here from White? Shaking and baking. Look at White go. 20, 10, knocked out around the 14-yard line. Nez White. Or was that Keyshawn Hines on that carry? Keyshawn Hines had the nice play right there. They subbed in Hines. They've been using a little bit of Hines, a little bit of Diaz, and a lot of White. Keyshawn Hines actually had the second touchdown of the night. Great run right there from Keyshawn Hines, though.
First and 10 from the 16-yard line.
All right, first down and 10. Ball on the 16. Mount Tahoma back in the red zone. Two receivers to the right side. Kane Roy to the left side. Cordero hands it off. It will be Hines, and Hines with another great carry. And, John, that's the thing that's tough about stopping this Mount Tahoma team. Just when you think you've seen enough of White, they bring in Keyshawn Hines, and he's had some big runs tonight.
Yeah, I think any of the backs, they're going to feature behind this really good offensive line. They're going to find some success, and even a night that hasn't been their best passing night, they're still able to just grind you down and really establish that run game.
And now they bring in Felix Diaz. If you recall, they had a fake handoff to Diaz, and Cordero kept it. Cordero fakes the handoff to Diaz, throws. Anthony Quintanilla. Is he in there for the touchdown? Waiting for a signal. Flag on the play. So no touchdown. We're waiting to see what the penalty is. .803 to play. Who would have thought that the King 5 big game of the week, which started 2 hours after the Mariners game, could end before the Mariners game?
You just never know. I recall a certain 17-inning game or something.
Yeah, 18 innings against the Houston Astros.
You just never know. Sometimes you get a two games for the price of one if you get a ticket.
Well, and you've been at enough high school events. Sometimes you'll get that on a Friday night. You'll get some games that just a lot of penalties. We had a Bellevue. It was Bellevue taking on Lake Stevens. I think there was something like 30 penalties in that game, and it just seemed to go on forever. Holds, offsides, holds, offsides.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. Those are not my favorite games to cover when it's there's just laundry all over the field and then there's no rhythm or flow. So the more smoothly we can make it run, that's always fine in my book.
All right, second down and 27 for the T-Birds. Cordero, shotgun. Cordero hands off. Felix Diaz, a little shake and bacon, and breaks one tackle. And finally brought down Sam Piacelli with the tackle there. The young man that picked up that onside kick there. Brian Jensen pulling out all the tricks tonight.
Hey, they still got a shot in this one.
Yeah.
So you got to do a little bit of everything you can when you're the underdog, especially on the road.
All right, 3rd down and 21. Cordero, shotgun, hands it off to Felix Diaz. Not much going there. I think that's where maybe Gino Munoz, Greg Taylor, Keith Terry thinking everybody's thinking throw, so why not try to surprise them with a little run? Bellarmine Prep not fooled on that one.
I'll be curious what they do. They've not even attempted a long field goal. They've not really wanted to punt in these situations. It looks like they're going to go for it again. A 4th and 21, and why not just take a shot at the end zone here?
I do see a kicker warming up, at least on the sidelines, but
well, it looks like he's staying on the sidelines.
he's not going on the field. All right, Cordero, 4th and 21. Let's see what Keith Terry comes out of this one with his playbook. Cordero dropping back. He's got plenty of time. Cordero all day, goes deep. Touchdown, Elijah Durr.
Well, and as good as this Bellarmine defense has played tonight, that's the one guy you cannot leave open in the end zone, especially on a 4th and 21. So that's a little bit puzzling.
Hang on, John Manley. Hang on. There's some laundry on the field, and it's the job of the officials to tell us what that laundry means. And this would be a heartbreaker for Mount Tahoma. They've had a couple big plays that have come back tonight. Let's see what they say.
No flag.
No flag, so that will be a touchdown. Elijah Durr, possibly a top 10 play of the week because Micah Cordero was in some trouble and found a way. John Manley, we're going to let you go. He's got some work to do, but it has been a pleasure. We thank you so much for joining us tonight on the King 5 Big Game of the Week. Make sure you follow this guy. Make sure you cover this guy. Make sure you sponsor whatever this guy needs. Help him out because he's done a phenomenal job in the South Sound covering high school sports. So thank you so much, John.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for having me, and hope to see you in the South End again soon, all right?
All right, there he is, the voice of John Manley, Tacoma News Tribune. Fun having him in the booth tonight for this big game, Mount Tahoma versus Bellarmine Prep. Elijah Durr with a great little touchdown reception there. Micah Cordero with the throw. And that gives Mount Tahoma a 28-13 lead here on senior night. The T-Birds, 31 seniors on this team. 31 seniors. They wanted to have a nice night tonight, and they're having it now. 28-13. Mount Tahoma over Bellarmine Prep with 6:28 to go in the game. King 5 Big Game of the Week brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. Good news from T-Mobile Park. Mariners have 2 on, no outs in the 12th inning. Wow. That could be a party tonight in Seattle. Steer clear of the Soto District if you're not there already, because that is going to be a party all night long if somehow the Mariners can find a way to get that winning run across. Meanwhile, we're in Tacoma tonight in the 2-5-3 high school football. Big game of the week. Mount Tahoma taking on Bellarmine Prep in a great game, well-coached game. A lot of big stars on both sides of the ball. Bellarmine Prep, 6:22 to go. They're going to have to do something here. Down a couple scores now. Hunter Goodsell with the return there. Sending out some good thoughts tonight for Josiah Mokel, who left the game early with an injury. We've not seen him return, so we hope he's doing okay. Burke Johnston, quarterback for Bellarmine Prep. Been going to Luke Shaw quite a bit tonight. Luke Shaw lining up on the right side along with Hunter Goodsell. Burke in the shotgun. He throws. And Platt, it was looking for Luke Shaw, but Anthony Quintanilla Jr. with a big hit there and knocked the ball loose. So no catch on the play. And the T-Bird defense is starting to lay a little bit of a licking. Elijah Durr opening up the fourth quarter with a big hit. Quintanilla Jr., big hit right there as well. Second down and 10. Bellarmine Prep. Need to get something here. Burke Johnson, shotgun, looking to his left side. Throws. Pass is complete. That's Ben Heisel, who had the touchdown in the second quarter. Flock of T-Birds on the tackle there. Third down and 8. Only picks up a couple. Burke Johnson throws. Passes a little short. He was looking for Seth Coover. Elijah Durr is everywhere on the field. He moves quick, and you can see why the University of Washington was happy to sign this young man. Fourth down and 8. And it looks like Brian Jensen's going to punt this away, which is interesting because Mount Tahoma is going to have plenty of time to burn some clock, but they are deep in their own territory. And when you have 3 timeouts, not a bad move here by Coach Jensen. And the punting unit has been spectacular. Another good punt. Mount Tahoma is going to have the ball around the 45-yard line. 28-13 your score, 5:44 to go.
46-yard line. The T-Birds will start. They are on offense, 1st and 10 for the T-Birds.
Got no updates from T-Mobile except it's still 2-2. And 2 on. No outs. E-Money, keep me posted over there. Big game Louie on the camera tonight. Awesome having John Manley in the booth tonight. Does an incredible job covering the prep ranks around the area. All right, let's see what Mount Tahoma does to. And it is going to take pretty much a dozen Bellarmine Prep Lions to bring down Nezzy White. Are you kidding me? That may be one of the most spectacular non-touchdown runs I've ever witnessed. Nez White carried 5 to 6 Bellarmine Prep Lions on his back for like 15 yards. Holy cow. He pretty much carried a couple cows down the field. That was impressive. That's what happens when you get in the weight room and you do those squats. You can do that stuff. Nezzy White, are you kidding me? What a run right there. Crowd loved that. First down and 10, Mount Tahoma. Clock ticking. Micah Cordero in the shotgun. They're going to milk the clock here. Cordero's going to roll to the right side. He throws. Completion. Logan Walker with the catch.
Pass for number 6, Cordero.
Cordero, a nice completion there. Clock's going to keep ticking. And just like that, here comes Mount Tahoma back in the red zone. First down and 10. Been a good battle tonight. Please tell me the Mariners scored. Did they not score? Oh, my gosh. Mariners, Tigers going to the 13th inning. Unbelievable. They had 2 on and no outs. What the? All right, back to this game. Handoff. Felix Diaz is in. And Felix Diaz says his White's going to carry some people. I will too. Picks up about 2 to 3 yards right there. I'm telling you what, that was one of the more impressive runs I've ever seen in a high school game. That young man has been phenomenal tonight, Nezzy White. I'm going to have to get down the sidelines and make sure he goes by Nez or Nezzy. 28-13, 3:34 to go here from Mount Tahoma Stadium. T-Birds off to one of their best starts in a long time, 5-0, trying to improve to 6-0. They've had victories over Yelm, Camas, Mount Si, Central, Kitsap, and took out Lincoln last week. Spin cycle for Felix Diaz. And that is what is dangerous about this team. Keyshawn Hines has speed. Nezzy White has power. Felix Diaz has some dancing moves out there. The T-Bird cheerleaders, one of the best in the state. They put on a show in the King 5 o'clock, 6:30 news. But Nezzy White, man, he's got some moves as well. A little spin there, a little shake and bake. Another flag on the field, though, so this could be coming back. 28-13. And the crowd getting into it here from T-Birds Stadium. Gorgeous stadium. This was the home to a couple years in a row of state championship football. Excited to see it up at Husky Stadium, at least at a bigger venue. Nothing against this stadium or Spark Stadium, but just nice to have state championship games in big venue places. Went from the Tacoma Dome, where it was for so many years. Then they had games at Spark Stadium and here at Mount Tahoma Stadium. This is the home for the state track and field championships. Handoff, Felix Diaz takes to the right side, picks up a couple yards, and Casey Gebauer, that's another guy that's just been a workhorse. John Manley, make sure you check him out tonight. Twitter, Instagram, he's been phenomenal. Doing a good job tonight. 28-13, third down and 15 now. Mount Tahoma's going to talk this one through. Probably 2-down territory for them. Mariners-Tigers in 13th inning. Who would have believed? King 5 big game of the week brought to you by Phillips Law Firm. Started at 7 o'clock. Mariners game started just after 5. This one will be over in 2 minutes. Mariners game could be over with one swing, but we've been saying that for a couple hours now. 28-13 your score. Bellarmine Prep needs to come up with some magic here. Bryant Jensen, his Lions, having a great season. Wins over Auburn, Kelso, Silas, Central Kitsap last week. White tops, navy bottoms. Classic lion on the helmet. T-Birds on the offensive side of the ball. Black tops, yellow pants, white helmets. Micah Cordero. Quarterback going to go to the air on 3rd and 15. Lets it fly. Pass is made. Pass is complete. Logan Walker with another completion. And Logan Walker's made some big catches tonight. So that's going to give them more doable territory here. That's going to bring him 4th down. We'll see what Coach Keith Terry decides to do. Chatting with his offensive coordinators, Gino Munoz, Greg Taylor. Can't thank enough the Mount Tahoma families out there. It's been a fun night, senior night, 31 seniors. They had ribs on the grill, chicken on the grill. 4th down and 6, 1:46 to go. First down would pretty much seal the win here. Cordero looking, throwing, completion, touchdown, Elijah Durr, number 2. The future Washington Husky having himself a nice game tonight. A little dancing in the end zone with his purple and gold gloves. That will make it 34-13. Durr giving some high fives, giving some chest bumps. He's having some fun out there tonight. He's got himself an interception. He's got himself 2 touchdowns. It's been a big night for Mr. Durr. 34-13 your score. Kick is up. Kick is good. And just like that, it is 35-13 Mount Tahoma. And it has been a very close game all night long, but a little too much Durr blur here in the 4th quarter has given Mount Tahoma a nice little lead. And the band's playing, the cheerleaders are cheering. Friday Night Football, only coming to you on King 5 TV. King 5 TV's first broadcast over 75 years ago, a high school football game. Here we are 75 years later, still bringing you high school football. It's all about the communities. It's all about the people in those communities. And King 5 cares. We're here for the good stuff. A lot of stations out there will just come to your high school when something bad's going on. Not King 5 TV. We are there for the good stuff as well. And that's why we are so big on bringing you the big game of the week every Friday night. Sure, there's baseball playoff games going on. There's Husky football going on, and we're all over that too. But we're here. We're here for the kids. Bellarmine Prep down 35-13, but Coach Jensen will have his team fighting to the final whistle.
Returned by the Bellarmine Lions, tackled by a flock of T-Birds.
Flock of T-Birds on the tackle there. Mount Tahoma leads it now with just 1:24 to go. Programming alert. If the Mariners win, stay with King 5 Plus for post-game reaction. Paul Sylvie, Ariel Arsudo over there. I'm sure we'll have some reporters out with the fans. That game still tied 2-2. King 5 Plus, though, your place for all that. This weekend, we've got the Seahawks fifth quarter. Paul Sylvie on a flight to Jacksonville in the morning to cover the Seahawks, taking on the Jags, which will be a great ball game. Make sure to watch that, the fifth quarter, King 5 TV after Sunday Night Football on King 5 TV. I'll be on the anchor desk tomorrow night, King 5 News, 8, 10, and 11. We'll have college football for you. Hopefully we'll be getting ready for the ALCS. We'll see. The T-Bird parents on their feet, enjoying the final minute here on senior night. Handoff, tackle made, and Mount Tahoma is going to go to 6-0. 6-0. 1979, they were undefeated, and they won a state championship. They followed it up with a state title in 1980. This is a team that then went through 3 decades of playoff drought. Coach Terry took over 4 years ago, and this program has been on the rise ever since. Brian Jensen and his Lions having a great season. This is a playoff team. They're going to learn from tonight. They're going to understand they were in this game. Take away a couple turnovers, a couple overthrows, and could be a different story tonight. But that clock is going to wind down. And that will do it from Mount Tahoma Stadium. The T-Birds continue their run here in 2025 as they improve to 6-0. They take out Bellarmine Prep, the King 5 big game of the week. 31 seniors on that field for Mount Tahoma. Congratulations to those young men as they celebrate senior night with a 35-13 win from Mount Tahoma Stadium. For everybody in the King 5 department that brings you the big game of the week, I'm Chris Egan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again to all the great folks at Mount Tahoma High School, Tacoma Schools, and Bellarmine Prep for helping us bring you the big game of the week. We'll see both these teams, I'm sure, in the postseason. That will do it from Tacoma. Congratulations, Mount Tahoma. They get the victory tonight. All I can say now is, Mariners, it's your turn now to go win. Good night, everybody.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.